Hey everybody, this is Perch, and the days. If you ever have this day where things just don't go like you think they're going to go, like you have this plan, you're going to get to this. I got very excited because I got a whole new design and concept for the how I'm doing the numbers and all the rest. It's super cool because one file links to another file, so I update the data here. My graphs automatically update. It's like saving me all kinds of time. I'm becoming more powerful and efficient. It's really awesome. I'm excited about that, but. Um, you ever have those cases where somebody writes something and you're like, well, this is obvious. Yes. In fact, you almost seem a little irritated by it because it's so obvious, because it's like, why are you even needing to say this? It's like if somebody comes in and is like, you need to drink water to survive. And you're like, why are you wasting my time with that? We all know this. This is not new information. I get it. Thank you for telling me the obvious. Thank you. And then a bunch of people come in to say, drink water, you bigot. You're like, wait, what? It's like that record scratch moment. It's like, wait, how did we get here? We're talking about water still, right? Was there something? Did I miss something? Then you start feeling like you took crazy pills because you must have seen something wrong. Instead of water, it should have, maybe it said, burning crosses or something. Like this can't be the case. So, over on Twitter, the place where all stupid things happen. By the way, it seems to me like Twitter has gotten significantly more dumb over the last, really the month, but even the last week. And what it feels like is you had a bunch of people who were dumbly fighting with each other over politics. And then one of those groups, one side, is like, all right, we're getting kicked off or we're leaving. And so they go off to Russia town. I'm just kidding. I don't know, wherever they go. And I'm kidding. Please, no comments. And the group remaining, like you think, oh, now it's going to be an intellectual utopia where ideas are discussed and good concepts. But instead, it's like the fight was needed to keep the IQ at like 60. And then when one side left and the fight kind of simmered down, the IQ dipped to 40. It's like somehow this argument was making both sides smarter but not smart enough. The IQ is still 60. We're not into triple digits here. But anyway, Twitter seems a lot dumber. Facebook too. They just seem a lot stupider. And I'm not going over to Parler, if it even is it up anymore. I don't know. It's funny, everybody's like, hey, you need to join the Twitter exodus and get over to Parler. And I'm like, I was thinking about the exodus away from Twitter and everything. Like no Facebook, no, I want to Wanda snap all these social media networks out of existence. That's where I'm going with this. That's what I would like to do. So the idea of like, you need to get on over here to Parler or Minds or one of these, it's like, I don't want to do that. I want less. God knows. I don't want to replicate this experience somewhere else. Are you crazy? Anyway, so speaking of Wanda snapping, Jeff Thorne, guest of the show, smart guy. I think what's crazy is if you just listen to the guy talk, he clearly is a comic fan. Now, you may not agree with him. You might say, oh, the politics he disagrees with me. I don't like the way he writes characters, whatever. You can disagree with all kinds of things, but it would be hard to disagree that he doesn't know his stuff about comics. I mean, and I love people like that, where I may agree, may disagree. There may be lots of pieces there, but you could sit down and like, let's talk mid-'80s comic storylines. It's like, let's go. He clearly knows his stuff in terms of comics, and I think that's cool. Good for him. So he writes what feels like the most obvious statement in the world, and it's one I've thought about a lot, and I've never quite understood this in the fandom. And basically he writes, here's why mutants don't work as an analog for any real-world marginalized group. It's not only not unreasonable to fear mutants, it could be described as both pragmatic and a legitimate survival adaptation. They are actually dangerous. They do actually hurt people. Wanda was right. So I forget about the Wanda was right piece, because that's just kind of that's then tying it into House of M and No More Mutants and all the rest of that stuff. But it makes for a nice little picture of No More Mutants. This was when Oliver Copiel's art was a lot more crisp, I think, as well. I mean, I've always misunderstood it. People are like, well, the mutants are an analogy for marginalized groups, for racism, for this kind of stuff. And on one hand, okay, I get it. It's the majority. They've done this stuff with William Stryker and all the rest, and Kitty throwing the N-word out and all this kind of stuff. But it also doesn't make sense because, there's a nice black family that lives up the street. My daughter will play with their daughter from time to time. I never have the worry that the daughter is going to hit puberty and blow up the neighborhood. Like, this is not a concern of mine. I don't worry about, the Latino family that's on another part of the town. I don't worry about them getting laser beams in out of their eyes in an accidental moment and burning down the Qdoba. I don't worry about the gay family accidentally Magneto ripping Target off and sending it into space. These are not concerns I have because that doesn't happen with those people. So a lot of the fear of other races or of people who are straight or gay, whatever happens, that's based on maybe a fear of the unknown. It's whatever makes people afraid of those things, but it's not based on an immediate threat. It's not based on any of these individuals. There's not a gay person is not going to pop claws out of their hands and go on a killing berserker rampage at the mall during Black Friday. That'd be kind of funny. No, it wouldn't be funny. What am I saying? No, those things don't happen. Now, granted, there are plenty of mutants who have silly, nonsensical powers. I mean, you have like Eye Boy, who's got lots of eyes and he can see things using his eyes all over his body. He's not an immediate threat, granted. But you also have, Omega Red there. You have Apocalypse. You have Sabretooth. You have all kinds of people who have used their powers for mass destruction at various. You have Jean Grey. You have Magneto. You have like all the X-Men at one time or another have the main ones have caused some pretty severe damage. So the idea that people fear what mutants can do, the idea that hey, the mutants are, they're not in control of things when they're born. And they could cause super problems. They could actually blow stuff up. When it just doesn't work. It doesn't work as an analogy for race or gender or sexuality. It's not a one-to-one reaction. Who would disagree with that? Because obviously, because I think to disagree with that actually makes you more of a racist, because then you're saying, yeah, I actually think it's, I do worry that the black family down the street can get the Phoenix Force and burn down a whole town. I mean, let's also just point out at this point that this is all fiction and fantasy, not real life. Okay, so I get the idea of, fictional things and fantasy things kind of allegories to real life situations. Fine. But this is like apples to scissors. This is not the same family of stuff. It doesn't work. This is all silly, in my opinion. This is all very, very silly. So what's goofy is the people disagreeing, who are some of the craziest takes on this. I love the one that basically says, I know a guy who voted for Trump when I see it. What? Voted for Trump? And people like old Joe Glass up there going, I'm not going to tell you what the tweet is, but there's a really bad take out there. That's a really bad take. Don't you hate bad takes? Wink. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you? And then Donny Cates like, oh, tell me. It's like, dude, write your Venom comics. What are you doing? Now, to be fair, there is some good conversation. There's some people coming out, and I appreciate. And Jeff is answering to all of them. I hate the way that, by the way, he answers a bunch of the people coming at him like, I disagree, and Jeff's like, well, here's why I say what I say, and people are like, man, you seem like you're really worked up responding to me. It's like, what do you expect him to do? He's responding. You responded to him. He's responding to you. Don't then turn it around and say you're too worked up. This is crazy. Anyway, I also like people are like pointing out William Stryker wanting to commit genocide on everybody. Like none of this makes sense. It is a popcorn moment. And it is absolutely crazy. And then people who are willingly showing their lack of intelligence on the topic of people throwing out the "you don't know what Jack Kirby was intending." It's like, you no, not Jack Kirby. Just stop. Look, yes, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true if that the idea of mutant hatred because people are mutants is a sense of xenophobia. The difference is it is unreasonable if you say, I'm scared of Mexicans because they will blow up the planet with their superpowers, as opposed to I'm scared of mutants because they're going to blow up, because they have done that and tried to do that, and it happens all the time. So it is not the same. It is unreasonable if you're walking around saying, someday there may be a school of superpowered gay children that will rebel and form their own living Krakoan planet. Like what are we? What are we? We're getting dumber just talking about this. Anyway, it's a funny one. I'm curious. I'll bring. Let me know your thoughts. I've just always thought this analogy is a bad one. And it always feels a little bit more like, and it's just goofy. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. It's funny to see this thing blow up. You never see this stuff coming. Though when things blow up and they're not like who in their right mind is going to anyway, this is all stupid. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. It's a good discussion, I guess, back and forth. I think Jeff's holding his own just fine, but the amount of people who are immediately jumping to to you're a Trump supporter. I don't. I needed a good laugh. Thank you, thank you very much. And again, when I see people say like this guy who's saying assuming mutants as a group are dangerous and hurt people would be a fallacious generalization based on the tiny percentage of them that actually do this. It parallels quite well the way small segments of real marginalized groups get used to demonize the whole. I mean, please wake me up when any marginalized group has destroyed New York, or just please let me know. Then we can absolutely have this conversation about how it's unfair to judge a group by a few individuals. But let me know when let me know when there's a black family who inherits the Phoenix Force and uses it to wipe out a planet in another solar system. Let me know, and then definitely we can have the conversation about how you do not judge the entire race by the Phoenix Force ability guy, please. But for the moment, no, there isn't a case of a marginalized group where a couple members or half of them or a majority of them are able to destroy the planet. Just doesn't care. I think if you do believe that is the case, then maybe you are the bigot. Just saying. I don't know. It's good for a laugh, sort of. The more it happens, the more people take this seriously, the more it's like, eek. Whatever. Hey, like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.